Hey you guys, what is up? I am back with another video, and this is probably like the first time that y'all either see me in uniform or a really long time since y'all seen me in uniform. Yesterday was my Navy birthday, so I wanted to give y'all a recap of the last 3 years of my life. So that's what we're gonna do in this video, and let's go. Okay, y'all probably like, who are you? Why do we care? This video is for anybody who is wanting to join the Navy, think about joining the Navy, or don't know if they want to join the Navy or not. If y'all see me looking down at my phone, it's because I took notes on this video and everything to get back to you guys. Like I said, this is everything I wish I would have known before I joined the Navy, and I wish somebody would have told me these things. So the first thing, before I get too deep, I'm going to give a real introduction of who I am and what I do in the Navy and what my experience has been so far. I am PS3 more. Basically, what that means is I am a personnel specialist. I handle all things personnel related, like transfer, leave, gain, separation, pay, everything that sorts. Basically, PS is handled. But I wasn't always a PS. I originally came in undis, and y'all, that was probably the worst thing I could have done. And I'll get into that in a little bit. I'm from Dallas, Texas. I'm 25. I am married. I have been in the Navy as of yesterday 3 years. I joined back at the height of COVID, so I ended up going through like Fort McCoy, the quarantine, XYZ. Now we're post COVID and everything is more or less peaches and cream. Okay, so that's a little spiel about me, but the meat and potatoes of today's video is going to be things I wish I knew before I joined the Navy. So if you are considering joining the Navy, if you want to join the Navy, or you're not sure if you want to join the Navy, I am here to hopefully give you some answers on if you should or not. Disclaimer, apparently I represent the DoD. I'm in uniform right now, but I am still not a recruiter, so I'm not trying to convince you to join. I'm not trying to discourage you from joining either. Now that we got that out the way, let's get to our first topic. The first topic is, why did I join the Navy? I get asked this question a lot, not just because, I mean, it's kind of a conversation starter in the Navy. Like when you meet somebody in the Navy, you're like, oh, why did you join the Navy? Why are you here? I knew that I wanted to get med school paid for. I joined a day before my 22nd birthday and a week after I graduated college. They're like, you graduated college, why are you coming in enlisted, right? Topic for a different day. But I came in because I did not come from too much, and I just spent a lot of time and money, as well as having scholarships to cover my undergrad, and I knew I didn't want to have to come out of pocket to do that again. And I did not have a sponsor to cover my MCAT or anything of that sort. And I was just always taught that the military would be a good source to help get school paid for, XYZ. Now, it's 3 years later. You're like, are you in school? Are you about to get ready to go to school? More or less. It's a whole process. You can't just go to school as soon as you get in the Navy or as soon as you get in the military, for that matter. They're really like selective on the things that they let you do. So, which brings me for my first topic officially. Things that I wish people would have told me before I joined the Navy. The first thing I wish somebody would have told me was, joining the service is a bigger deal than I thought it was. Because it most definitely is. It's a big deal because you lose a lot of your freedoms in the process. Like you join, you go through boot camp, you say you're XYZ. Now you don't see your family for 9 months. Okay, exactly. It don't work like that exactly, but you get the gist. Like you not just gonna join the Navy and you can still do whatever you want. No, now you have a lot of restrictions. You can't go home when you want to go home. You can't not show up to work just because you're sick. You gotta go through a bunch of different processes for somebody else to tell you. You gotta ask for permission for pretty much everything you do once you're in the Navy. Now, I can only speak on the Navy because, as y'all see by my uniform, I'm in the Navy. The second thing I wish somebody would have told me, that when you choose your rate, you choose your fate. If y'all are paying attention in the beginning, I'm a PS, but I said I wasn't always a PS. I originally came in the service undesignated, and that was potentially one of the worst things I could have done, right? Because you can come in the Navy under 3 packs or under 3 undesignations, right? Air, engineer, or seaman. Now, me personally, I knew I wanted to go medical, but they wouldn't allow me to take medical, and it wasn't available at the time of on entry or enlistment, right? So I was like, cool. I just graduated college. I don't really want to go back home. Can I get the shortest contract with the earliest leave date? That meant I went undes for 3 years, active duty, and I was leaving out within the next month. So they were like, oh, yeah, you're going to be painting. You're going to be doing this, XYZ. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. My recruiter wasn't really trying to cut it for me. Honestly, I ended up having to talk to a medical officer recruiter, which was good, but there was still a lot of things like financially that I wasn't going to be able to cover. And I was just like, okay, well, I don't want to get hate from my enlisted junior settlers or people that I'm working with. So let me go ahead and just join now. And they were like, oh, you can go on DES. It'll work out in the end. You can always commission later. Let me stop right there. It is so much harder to do anything in the Navy once you're already in. All right, like I was saying, once you're in the Navy, it is so much harder to get commissioned. It is so much harder to get released, separate, whatever it may be. You're gonna have an extremely hard time trying to get out of whatever you're trying to do, basically, because you got to go through a bunch of people, and it's not always peaches and cream. The next thing I wish somebody would have told me before I joined the Navy, I wish somebody would have told me that dream sheet was a myth, right? You get to probably like the third or fourth, closer to the end, maybe like the 4th week of boot camp. And they're like, oh, write down the locations that you want to go. This is your dream sheet. This tells us where potentially we can send you. Complete myth. It doesn't really exist. 9 times out of 10, your needs of the Navy, which means the Navy is going to send you wherever you need to be, whatever they need you to be, based on your rate and the need for you. So choose your rate, choose your fate. And let's say, for instance, you want this rate, but you don't like the location that it's in. Choose the rate over the location. Like, if you don't want to be doing a miserable job. You don't want to be stuck in something that you're not going to enjoy, but you want to be in that location. Let's go back before boot camp. If you get an ASVAB score that you're not really paying attention to, if it's like a 17, somewhere on the lower end, and you like want a specific job, and they're like, oh, don't worry, we can do a waiver for it. Don't let them tell you that BS, because 9 times out of 10, a recruiter is not going to do extra paperwork outside of what they've already started. Even though they should be willing to do the job, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to do it. So it is in your best interest to pay attention that recruiter works for you in the end. The Navy's retention sucks. I'm telling you that now. The Navy's retention sucks. So they are looking for people to join. So they are willing to wait for people to join. So when you get that ASVAB score and it's not what you want it to be, retake the ASVAB. I think it's like something like you can take it a week later or 2 weeks later, XYZ, but you can take it as many times as you need to get the score that you want. And they give you a study guide, and you can also use the ASVAB for Dummies book or whatever. But that gives you time, that buys you time. That's not like oh, well, I only took it once and I don't want to take it again. Well, let me take whatever rate they have available. No, because you're messing yourself up in the process on your success on the long run, especially if you end up picking something that you did not know. You did not know what they were doing, what that job did, or what their daily life looked like for them. There's only so many recruiters in our office, and they only have so many rates in their office. Not all of them can tell you what somebody else's job is in the Navy. On to the next topic. I definitely wish somebody would have told me to do a deeper search on all the rates that were available to apply to. Right? Not all the rates are available up on entry, which I mentioned before. But once you get your list back after you've taken the ASVAB and they're like, hey, these jobs are available for you, take a beat and look up what those jobs are actually for and what they actually do, how long their contract is, what their seat time to shore time ratio is, all the things that such. And this probably makes no sense to y'all, but when you come in the Navy, these are things to consider, right? Again, choose your rate, choose your fate. Whatever rate you pick, unless you're going to cross rate, which is something that, again, takes another long process to do, and this is your initial impression of the Navy, it is in your best interest to take your time picking your rate and coming into service. The service is always going to be there, but you may not always be in the service. The next thing I wish somebody had told me was that it was going to be a huge culture shock. When I say a huge culture shock, like you're seeing people and meeting people from all walks of different life, all different ethnicities, all different ages. People join later in life, early in life, right after high school, XYZ. Like, you never know who you're going to meet. It's always going to be somebody different. You're going to meet some really great people. You're going to leave behind a lot of great people. But that initial time you come into service, you're going to think one way, and there's 50 billion other people that think a different way. And you cannot fault them because you think one way. Common sense is not so common in the Navy. And you're meeting these people from all over the different world. Like, all from different worlds, like, countries and stuff. So, you cannot fault people from not knowing or thinking like you do, because you're in the Navy, and the Navy likes to pick people and accept people from all over the place. But it's also a double-edged sword, because that's also the best part of the Navy, is that you get to see people and meet people from all over the world. Next thing I wish I would have known before I joined the Navy. Alright, that's all that I have for things I wish I knew before I joined the Navy. Something that I've learned since I've been in. The Navy is what you make it. My initial year in the service was not the best. Within my first 6 months of being in the fleet, right? That's what they call after boot camp. My first 6 months in the fleet, within my first 3 months in the fleet, I ended up getting into an altercation that was not my fault. It was self-defense, but I still ended up taking the heat. We both did, took the heat for it, and that made my experience a lot worse than it was initially. On top of that, I was doing really heavy manual labor. I wasn't able to do what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted a commission, but again, I'm an E3, as opposed to a lot of people that come in the service that are E1, that now I'm back, setting back. I almost lost my rank. I almost lost my pay. Actually, I did lose my pay, and I was restricted. I couldn't go home for 14 days. So, with that being said, how does my perspective change from that to where I am now? I'm not on DES anymore. I have an actual rate. I originally was in Virginia, and now I'm somewhere else. I cried when I got those initial orders, and I was so happy when I got my orders to where I am now. Do I have any regrets? Do I regret joining the service? Absolutely not. Do I recommend the service to anyone? Sure, if that's what you want to do. I don't, like I said in the beginning, discourage or recommend anybody join the service. All I ask is that you be knowledgeable on what it is that you're about to take the next step in your life and do. Because it's really one of those that no matter how much you try to prepare for it, you're never really going to be ready. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. I know way more people that want to get out and way too few people that want to come in. And that's because the morale and culture of the Navy is not what it should be in regards to everything in between. There's so many things I could talk about, but for the sake of time, I'm just not going to devour or discuss. I feel like right now, at that point in my Navy career, it's what I make it. When I say that it's what I make it, it means if I'm going to have a bad day, I'm going to have a bad day because I said I'm going to have a bad day, not because I chose to show up to work with a smile on my face and make the best out of my day. It's going to be long hours, regardless. There's a lot of things in the Navy that people be like, I don't understand why we got to do this. Some things just come with a job. Like, you joined the military. You should have known that you weren't going to have XYZ. You should have known you was going to have to ask. But again, a lot of things these people don't tell you. They just like, oh, well, I need to reach my quota, so let me join. Let me get this person to join on whatever contract they can. And my advice to you, if you are wanting to join the service, or you thought about it, or you're getting ready to ship out to boot camp soon, is to take your Navy career. How can I say this? My advice to you is to take your Navy career seriously. Plan as if you're going to stay in for 20, and if you decide to get out after 3 or 4, prep, save, do whatever it is you need to do to make sure that you're successful back on the outside. Because the Navy is going to basically give you everything you need, and a lot of people become dependent on it. Don't be one of those people that have been in the Navy 10 plus years and they're scared to get out and start over because they've depended on the Navy for XYZ. Do I plan on staying in the Navy for 20? I plead the fifth. I really don't know if I want to stay in that long, but I have learned a lot between the first and my third year being in the service. I am very grateful for where I am. Never did I see myself being this far in the Navy. Never did I see myself sitting in front of a camera and giving out my story back on me being in the Navy. A lot of takeaways. My favorite part of the Navy is meeting all the different people. My least favorite part is duty, but y'all find that out if you are joining. Like I said, this is not a Navy sponsored video or anything of that sort. I'm not trying to recruit you in. I'm not trying to discourage you from joining. If you decide to do so and you stayed this far, I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that this information was highly useful to you and that you took some tips. Also, if you are joining the Navy and you ship out in a few days or a few weeks, I look forward to seeing you in the fleet, shipmate, and I can't wait to hear how your experience was. And I will leave a link down below so you guys can ask questions per usual. Again, it's PS3 More. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't miss out on the next time that your girl posts. So make sure you turn on post notification bells, and I will see y'all in the next video. Deuce.